Appreciate it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start screen sharing with everybody. Very excited to be here. I wish we were in person, but I'm glad we can at least get this done. So can everybody see the screen? Everything looking good there?
Looks good.
Okay. So today we're going to really talk about dollars and cents, maximizing your business performance. And for me, that's from strategic planning, that's to budgeting. We'll get into a lot of this. But to start off, the one thing I will just have to say is most of the people in my experience that I've come across are scared of finance, they're scared of planning, they're scared of budget. And so really, we just want to make sure we take the fear out of that, because if you can break it down into bite-sized pieces, it's not really scary. It's just the story behind your business. And that's what we really try to do at Blueprint with all of our clients. So that's what we're hoping to do today. There's going to be a lot of information. I'm going to try to go fast. So please don't hesitate to either put a question in the chat, or at the end during some Q&A, please feel free to reach out. Also, I have some spreadsheets and templates that we're going to kind of take a peek at today. At the end of the presentation, please feel free to email me. I'm happy to send over anything to you that you would like to kind of have an example of as well. So again, without further ado, let's go ahead and get things kicked off. So I would love to know if I can get my screen to advance. I would love to know really quickly your name, your business, and how many years you've been in business. So we're going to just quickly go around the room on this. So if you can unmute for just a second, that would be great. So Tara, can you please tell me your name and your business and how long you've been in business?
Tara?
Oh, sorry. Okay, I'm on mute. Hi, I'm Tara. My business is Quince Juice Cafe, 555 Church Street, and we've been in business a little over 6 months.
Great, thank you. Libby?
Sorry, Brittany, technical difficulties. Hi, everybody. This is Libby Krause with Brevity. We do communications and operational documentation. We've been in business for 11 years.
Thank you. Vicki?
Hi, my name is Vicki Harris, and I'm with Community Connector, and we've been in business for 8 years.
Jackie?
My name is Jackie Claver. I own Nashville Neuropsychology and Family Services, and I've been in business for 4 years.
Great, thank you. Fred?
Hi, Fred Pickney, can you hear me?
I can.
Yes.
Step Pros, been in business since 2015.
Thank you. Stephanie?
This is Stephanie and Mary Caton Brakefield, and we are in the process of launching a clothing line called Brakefields, which should be up in the next year.
Great, thank you. Aaron?
Aaron can't unmute himself. Sorry. I know that. He's on every call.
Okay, no problem. Okay, Brian? All right, we'll skip over to Molly Locker.
Hi, yeah, Molly Locker with Sunny Care Services. I've been in business 2.5 years.
Thanks, Molly. Lauren?
Hi, y'all. I'm Lauren O'Mara. We're Plum Flower Software, and we will be 10 years old in April.
Great, congratulations. Amber?
Hi. Business in May, so just about 6 months open, food manufacturing business and food services.
Great, thank you. Gingy?
Hi, I'm Gingy Arden with My Fur Baby, Pet Memory Chests, some pre-revenue, planning to launch in Q2 of next year.
Thank you. Okay, let's see, I think next is Arias. I don't know if I said that right.
Hello guys, I'm Irais. So my business started with a cooperative here locally in town, and I kind of strung off from that, and it would be Ambris Interpretations, and we'll be providing interpretation services in multiple languages and also translation services for any medical, civil, or legal documents that you need. And we've already launched.
Thank you. Hi, Jack. How are you? Can you tell us a little bit about yourself, name and business, and how long you've been in business?
Sure. My name is Jack Gar. We are in business for now almost 6 months, and we provide in-home care for seniors or anyone in need. What we basically do is we send our caregivers to their homes to take care of them, from personal hygiene to personal care, anything non-medical related, from 4 hours a day to 24/7. We provide all kind of cares.
Great, thank you. Okay, next, Craig.
Have to take myself off mute. We do two different things. So we have a real estate business, and we flip houses, and we're creating a residential assisted living, residential independent living, small group homes for the aged and for people who need help. That's one side. And the other side is long-term. We've been doing consulting and training in the area of Lean Six Sigma, project management, and those kind of things.
Great, thank you. Gary.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I just wanted to join in. Just joined in. I'm an advisor, and saw the advertisement. I just wanted to get a feel for what was going on, and see some of the new and budding entrepreneurs. So just real quick introduction. I'm new to Nashville. I moved here about 6 weeks ago, and I am a food packaging specialist. Owned my own business for about 15, 20 years, but for the past 20 years, that's what I do. I work within the food industry, packaging food. So if I can help anybody in that area, again, I just joined EC as an advisor.
Great, thank you.
Put your information in the chat. Put your information in the chat.
Okay. Rhonda?
Oh, sorry. I'm Rhonda. I own Perfectly Cordial. It's a cocktail mixer. Oh, 2 years.
Great, thank you. Michelle?
Hi guys, sorry. It's Michelle Frazier. I own Ivy League Investments. I do operational and management consulting.
Thank you. Agete?
Sorry, take my mask off. I'm at the EC. My name is Ogechi Antone. My company is Global Cheese Supply Solutions. We've been in business for 2 years. We provide supply chain consulting. We've helped small businesses here in Nashville launch brand new products from scratch, but we also do distribution for people who want to source product, and we import it into the US.
Thank you. Lauren?
Hi, my name is Lauren. My business is called Royal Rose Salon, and it's a mobile salon. So what I do is I go out to families, bachelorette parties, and brides parties, and I go out, style their hair, nails, and makeup, and it's set up in their homes like a salon.
Thank you. Angela?
Hi, my business is called Music Strong, and I do fitness training specifically for musicians, focusing on injury prevention and overcoming through strength training. And I started this journey almost 12 years ago in January.
Great, thank you. Courtney.
Hi, Courtney Gregg. My company is Start Swimming Entertainment. It's primarily artist management, and I've been in business closing in on 2 years.
Thank you. Mark?
Hi, Mark Gully with ReadyPay. We're part of Project Healthcare. We're based in Charlotte. We've been in business 5 years.
Thank you. Karen?
Hi, I'm Karen Williams, and my business is MenTech Agency, and we are a diversity tech recruiting company located here in Nashville, Tennessee, and we are 1 year old.
Great, thank you, Karen. Spencer?
Hey, my name is Spencer. Just moved to Nashville recently. My business is a CBD company based out of Nashville. We just started that about 6 months ago, and then personally do paid media advertising for businesses here in Nashville.
Thanks, Spencer. Harrison?
I think Harrison's just on the EC team.
Okay, perfect. Kathy.
Okay, let me try to work this here. I'm Kathy Anderson, and my company is A&E Coaching Group, providing consulting and coaching services. I primarily assist nonprofit leaders with just growing their organization as well as securing the funding that they need.
Thank you, Kathy. Okay, I think we have Yasir.
Actually, my name is Jahar Bahar. My son used my Zoom yesterday for school, so I put his name in there. But my name is Jahar Bahar. I'm the owner of Lashing Artistry. We've been in business on and off for about 5 years, and I've been a licensed esthetician for over 12 years, and I specialize in eyelash extensions, brows, and facials.
Great, thank you. Monica?
Hi, I'm Monica Smith, founder of Polly Ann's Tea Cakes. We make an ancestral dessert called a Southern tea cake, and I established Polly Ann's in 2018.
Congratulations, thank you. Woody?
Yep. Hey, Woody Bibb. I'm the managing director for Bibb Ventures, which is a med tech consulting company to help startups and early commercialization companies in their sales strategies, pricing, and so forth.
Thanks. Sura? Don't know if I'm saying that right.
Hey, yeah, that is correct. My name is Saurabh Agrawal. I don't have a business right now. I just joined like 30 seconds ago using the link.
Great.
But yeah,
Well,
I'm
welcome.
really, thank you so much. And I'm really looking forward to hear more about you speaking. And hello, everyone. Nice to meet you. I'm a new member of the EC. Thank you.
Great, thanks for joining us today. Okay, hopefully I got everybody. If not, please unmute yourself and shout out. If I didn't say, call your name, or if you didn't respond when we got you before.
Hi, there was another Amber on this call, so it just kind of threw me off. My name is Amber Handy. I'm a photographer and owner of the Artistic Canvas, and that'll be about 4 years in January.
Great, thank you, Amber. Okay, well, I appreciate that. I just like to know kind of who's in the room, and again, I'm used to kind of doing this and talking with you guys. I really hope today can be interactive. So I love to put a name for the face and also hear about the business ideas. So thank you for that. All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. So we're going to start off with, for me, I think it's very important for everybody to know 3 things. Who are you? Why are you in business? That's really your passion and your purpose. And what problem are you solving? So that's one of the things I want to kick off. We're going to break out into some little work sessions for just a quick second. You're going to do a little bit of homework. Before we do, just to make sure, give an example of what we're trying to get. Oftentimes when I ask people this, I get the answer, what, 3 times. So please really dig in and think, who are you? Why are you in business? What's your passion and purpose? And what problem are you solving? And when we do this, if you haven't had the opportunity, I highly recommend you listen to Simon Sinek's TED Talk, Start With Why. He really talks about, people buy from companies that they can connect with. So what is your true passion? Why are you in business? And he defines this in the golden circle, if you've had the opportunity to see it. What every organization on the planet knows what you do. These are the products and the services that you offer. Most people can also say how. Some organizations know what makes you special. How are you different than your competition or your competitive advantage? But the last thing is very few people understand, why do you do what you do? What is the result? What is your purpose, your cause, the connection between you and your business? Because again, people buy from people and passion. And so that's what I'd like for you all to start with today. So we're going to take about 3 minutes. And if you could just go back and answer the questions, who are you? Why are you in business? And what problem are you solving? So take a few minutes to think through that, please. I'm going to give you about 1 more minute to think on that. Okay, so now the fun part. I would love to ask one person that will volunteer to tell me, why are you in business? What's your passion or purpose?
I'm happy to share. This is Monica with
thank you,
Polly Ann's
Monica.
Tea Cakes. So who we are is an ancestral dessert company using a recipe that's been handed down for generations in my family. We are in business to make money, to leave a legacy, and to share the dessert that has brought generations of our family a lot of joy with generations of families all over the world. And the problem we're solving is boredom and a lack of variety in the grab and go dessert sector.
Great, thank you, Monica. Anyone else want to give it a shot?
I can go.
Great.
So I got into this business, and that's kind of goes along the line of who you are. So I always thought, me having a physical disabilities, I thought that you should get into a business where people could utilize your expertise in the consulting background, and I can bring a change into the current service industry. Why? Because when we did the research in the beginning, and when we saw a bigger problem in the care industry was that, and with due respect to anyone who is in this industry of taking long-term care or anything, there were incidents when we were doing the research of abuse. And because of those abuse or rumors of those abuse, there's a big anxiety among the senior or anyone who needs care, that they were scared of going to nursing homes, or they were scared of having someone come into their house and take care of people. So what problem are we solving? We are trying to build that trust and a particular level of service where we are not only interviewing the caregiver up to a certain standards, but at the same time, we were also interviewing the clients to make sure that we are able to match them up with the right level of care and right level of caregivers.
Thank you, Jack. I appreciate that. Okay, we're going to move on. One of the things you all may have seen this in very different ways. There's many different formats. If you're looking at Traction, if you're looking at Petra, there's a lot of different ways you can do this. Pick the format that you like the best, but this is something that I encourage every business to make sure they do when you're starting out, to think through this. But then also, I think it's a great idea, once a year, bring this back out and look through it. So part of the things we just discussed for your purpose, what is that why? And core values. Core values really connect your employees to the company. So knowing and understanding your core values and being able to state them in an action phrase is very helpful. The what we talked about, your brain promise. Most all of you have done a SWOT analysis at some point in your life, but take note of that, especially look through those opportunities and threats that you come up with on your strengths. Those are some great areas to focus on when you're looking at kind of coming up with your key goals for the next year. Your competitive advantage, that's that how. How are you different from your competitors? The BHAG, your big, hairy, audacious goal. Dream big. Where can you go? The sky's the limit. Think through that. And then as we'll get into the next part, really now we take that and we want to go, where do we want to be in 5 years? Then we'll look at where we want to be in 3 years. What do we need to do by the end of next year? And then break those down into quarterly tasks so you can help meet your goals. If it's written down, you have a much better chance of doing that. I did see coming in the chat to see if you could get a copy of this. Yes, this is something that, again, happy to, if you want to send me an email after the presentation, I'm happy to provide in any of the templates that we go through today. So yes. Okay, So after you've kind of done your financial and operational scorecard, really before we move forward, I want to take just a minute to go backwards for a second. You know, for me, if you can understand where you've been, it will really help you understand where we're going. So 2020 has been a hard year, to say the least, for everyone. We've had a lot of challenges. We've had a lot of things to overcome. So right now, I'd like for you to write down 1 or 2 challenges that your business faced this year and think through how did you pivot or overcome those challenges. And then also, I want to end that with a positive note of what do you think was your biggest accomplishment that you went through this year? So let's just take a minute or 2 and quickly write these down. Again, 1 to 2 challenges that you faced this year. How did you get through it? And then looking back, what do you think your biggest accomplishment was for 2020? Okay, so anyone want to share their challenge or their biggest accomplishment? Someone out there did something great that they want to tell us about.
I don't mind sharing.
Okay, thank you.
But my accomplishment for 2020 was just getting open. I opened in June 29th, in the middle of everything going open.
Congratulations. That's definitely, I mean, it's always great to be able to launch and open, especially during a pandemic. So thank you for that. Anyone else want to share?
Brittany, I'll share.
Thank you.
For me, this year has been a large focus on knowledge for myself. And so joining the Entrepreneur Center at the beginning of this year, coming on as an advisor, and some additional ongoing education that I'm doing, I feel has been a huge accomplishment for me.
Thanks, Libby. All right, so now we're going to move on to the next piece. So, as I've been doing this presentation, we're getting closer and closer to the end of the year. However, I still would encourage everyone, let's finish strong. Let's really put 2020 behind us, and let's start to be able to think through 2021. So one of the things that I want you to do, what are 3 things that you still can commit to? What we have 15 days left in the year. What can you do? Those are things that could be really big still, or with the limited time, they can be something small, but just a nagging to do on your list that, if you can get it accomplished, 1, you'll free up your headspace for next year, or 2, it just may be something that you need to do organizationally that will really set you up for success next year. So if you can come up with 3 quick things that you think you can do in the next 15 days. And again, I will ask for a volunteer at the end. So take a couple minutes here and we'll come right back. Okay, who wants to share this time? Just one thing you can think of that you want to do that will help you for next year.
Hey, this is Woody. One of the things that I'm going to be doing was I signed up for the video production through Renew at the EC, and very excited about this will force me to do my who, what, and why in a video production that I need to do as when I get referrals that I need to send something on what I do. So this will really help fulfill a need that I had. So excited to take advantage of what's being offered at the EC. So that's my next thing, and I'll be doing that next week.
Great, thank you. Anyone else have one more fun one to share? Craig?
All right, so let's see, I got off mute this time. That's good. So my main thing is to set up the plan for next year and keep a positive attitude for the last little bit. I just landed possibly 4 major clients in this last week, but it took months to do that, and it was disheartening. So just keeping that positive attitude, setting up the plan, and we have so many things going on to narrow it down to those things that we want to do with passion that brings energy instead of uses all of energy.
Thank you for sharing. All right, so now that we've kind of taken a look at what we've done, kind of thinking through next year, now we're going to really go 5 years ahead. We're going to think big, right? We're going to dream. The sky's the limit. Where can you go? In order for us to know where we want to go, we have to kind of think, what's the end result? What does success look like? So really define why you want to get there, how you want to get there, and where you want to go. So then you can build that plan backwards, making sure you're doing all the little milestones to get you there. So we're going to look 5 years ahead. And this is an exercise too that I would love for you. Right now, we're going to just think through a few key areas of the business. What does it look like? And then on your own later, the key to this is you take kind of the 5-year vision exercise. And then once you've done that, you cut that in half, and that's where you think you should be in 3 years. And then you cut that half again, and that's where you should be at the end of 1 year. So take a minute, and we're going to think through the high level things. You know, how many products or services do you think you'll be able to offer in 5 years? What are some of the different types of equipment you may need to develop that product? Or what are some of the processes that you would need to go through for your service? What would look different in 5 years than today? How many people do you think you might have on your team? Do you think you'll have a partner? How many employees? Will you be using outsourced service providers? The next thing, number of locations. You know, again, dream big. Where do you think you might be in 5 years? With those locations, how big of a facility do you think you might need for manufacturing if you're developing products? What about your marketing efforts? Are there anything that need to change specifically on how you market to your audience when you're looking at 5 years that's different than maybe word of mouth marketing that you might be doing today? And then are there any other areas of impact or consideration? So take a few minutes and just really, I'd like to take a blank piece of paper and just kind of let your mind go. In 5 years, like I said, dream big. Where do you ultimately want your business to go? So let's take maybe 2 or 3 minutes to do this. And then, like we said, we'll do the 3 and 1 year on your own. Gonna give you about 1 more minute and then we're gonna move on. Okay, I hope that was kind of thought-provoking for you. I had the opportunity to shadow David First at the EC, I don't know, maybe 8 years ago. And that's one of the things, you know, he always would encourage people just to get out a napkin even, you know, just brainstorm and then flip it over. You know, try to make these things in easy little things where you can just use some headspace and jot some things down. It kind of takes that fear that I was talking about out of that in the beginning, and it just brings back to more of the brainstorming and free flowing ideas, excuse me. So again, I would take that sheet that you just did later on, fold it in half, cut everything in half from the front side, make that the 3 years, flip it over again and make that the 1 year. And that can help you have a quick plan for what you want to try to do this year. So now that we've kind of looked ahead, where do we want to go? Now we have to really build that plan to make sure we can get there. So one of the things that I encourage each of our clients to do is really, one, think through your plan, what you want to do. Make sure you have a budget and a forecast so you can know financially and operationally, are you on the right track? How's your business performing? You know, cash is king. You'll hear us talk about that in a second. And then really you have to make sure you are on that right path. As an entrepreneur's journey, things change. You know, where you want to go today may pivot a little bit and you may find a fork in the road where you have to make some changes. As long as you're tracking your performance along the way and revisiting that plan each year, that will really help you get to that 5-year goal that you want to do. So we're going to break these pieces down for just a second. So the first thing that, you know, we did the plan. Now the next thing I think really is important is the budget. This is something that, again, a lot of people come to me with, I don't have a budget. I don't know where to start. Maybe I don't really understand my financials. I always encourage everyone to think of your numbers as the story behind your business. So if you can look at it in that way, most people can take those business decision-making ideas and put them down on paper. So a couple of key questions to ask yourself when you're building that budget, you know, how many clients do you have? How many customers? Do you know what an average sale is per client? And then kind of going through your current client list or your customer list, do you think that, what's the probability that you'll do business with them again next year? One of the key things that I also think is important is the cost of goods sold. You know, how much time or labor or actual ingredient is going into what you're delivering. It really helps you to be able to determine your pricing if you know what it's costing you to make that. You know, one quick key benchmark there is generally for professional services industries, you want to make sure that you are billing out twice what you were paying your team. So something to think about there on the cost of goods sold or the cost of services performed. Again, operating expenses, make sure you look at those at a business decision-making category. Depending on what accounting system you use, most of the time you're going to have advertising at the top of your P&L and you're going to have website at the bottom of your P&L. So when you try to go together and look to see how much you spent this year on marketing, it's going to be very hard. So one thing we do with our clients is make sure that they organize that chart of accounts into the business categories so that you can quickly and see how your business is performing. Will you have any key changes in your operations next year? And then what about your personnel? So we have created a budget questionnaire that we like to use. Again, most of the time, if you say, sit down and write a budget, people can't do that. However, if you kind of go through and ask different questions, this is generally something that if you don't have it today, it's something that you can know or think through and kind of ask yourselves these questions. So here's again, something, a template, if you'd like it, happy to send it over, but really try to think through that. What's your revenue going to look like? How do you think that will grow next year? What are kind of the trends you're seeing in your industry? You know, what has been your success rate on acquiring new customers or new clients? Are you adding any new service lines this year? And then again, on the employee side, do you think you'll need to hire any new employees? Oftentimes, especially in a service industry, you'll want to make sure you're tracking the utilization of those employees. How much time are they working on billable client time versus how much time are they spending on administrative tasks that aren't being able to build out to your clients. So different things to kind of look through. But here, if you go through this, you'll have a pretty good idea on where are you spending money and what money might you not be spending yet that you need to as you continue to grow. Some other areas to consider are just who are your key customers? How can you maximize those existing customers? Are there any, like the low hanging fruit? Are there any additional service lines or add-ons that you could do to enhance your relationship with your current customers? It's always easier to retain existing customers than it is. It's generally less expensive than acquiring new. We want to do both, but that's a great, easy place to start. Have your expenses changed or do you expect them to change? You know, one thing that I know with a lot of people in Nashville, property taxes went up 32%. So a lot of people rent office expenses that are being passed through by your landlord. That's a significant change for next year, something to think about. Marketing efforts, that's an area where it's something I encourage everyone to track. It's great, you have to spend money to make money, but you also want to make sure you're spending the money in the right areas. So really tracking that return on your investment for your marketing efforts in your budget is important. And then again, staffing costs. I'd like to look at that as a percentage of revenue. Many different industries have their own benchmarks. That's something that I would encourage you to take a look to see where are you lining up? You know, with a like-kind company like yours, how much do they spend on staffing? Do you fall in line with that? And really take a look at that. So those are some things that I think will help you put that budget together. Then once you have that budget, I think it's important that you make sure you track it each month. So look at their budget versus your actuals. How are you performing as you go through? The next area, as I'm sure you've heard many people talk about, is cash is king. So especially in times of like the pandemic, this past year was very hard. Those that actually had cash were able to sustain longer. You know, the PPP funds that the government rolled out really was just an infusion of cash into businesses so that you could sustain yourself. The tip or trick of the trade would be if you can have access to funding, kind of a line of credit, a business loan, really having 4 to 6 months of operating expenses in the bank is kind of the benchmark you'd like to achieve there. With the PPP, I'm not a CPA, but I encourage everyone who received PPP dollars to talk with your CPA. Have you applied for your forgiveness? When do they think that's right? But then also a surprise that many people are being faced with this year, are the taxes that are going to be impacted by the PPP. They're still finalizing some legislation there, but as it stands today, you will be responsible for some taxes because you're not able to deduct those expenses. So you don't have to report it as income, but you have to make sure you've set aside the fact that you can't deduct those expenses. So it is generally creating a tax liability for many people right now. With that, the other kind of best practice is each month, as you go through your business, I encourage you to take maybe 25% of your profit and transfer that over into a separate reserve account for your taxes. So when it comes time to pay in quarterly taxes, those funds are there and it's not a surprise at year end. And then another thing that each business owner really needs to know, how much revenue do you need to make to break even? In times with a pandemic, that way it gives you a little bit of thoughts of how much runway do you have? How long can you go this way? Or what do you need to do to pivot, to change things, to get additional revenue coming in? So to track that, and I don't know if any of you have heard of Alan Miltz, he has a software package and a book, The Cash Flow Story. That's another on my resource page at the end you can look at. He's great at how he discusses it. Many companies can go out of business because they broke growing their business. It's costing them more to grow than it would be if they changed some things. So Alan Miltz is a great resource for that. One of the things here, these are quick and easy things that you can put in. If you have a bookkeeper, or if that's something you can do in-house, but really kind of maintain a weekly cash management sheet. Understanding how much money do you have in the bank? How much revenue do you think is going to come in? What are those monthly operating expenses that you budgeted? Do you have any extraordinary expenses coming up? Or this time of year, a lot of people do bonuses, profit sharing contributions, holiday parties, different things, making sure you kind of have those not surprise because you've budgeted them in, but those extra kind of extraordinary numbers in your cash flow. So you can really look to see how much cash flow you have. And like I said before, it's very important. If you don't have a line of credit, I encourage everyone to try to get one when you don't need it. It will help you in tough times to have a line of credit there to fall back on as a safety net as you need to. The other piece is a break-even report. This is something that really, like we said, talking back, how much revenue do you need to bring in the door to keep the door open each month? So that's one of the things that I think that we really look through, understanding what are those base expenses you have each month, what are those cost of goods that you have, and really looking at a break-even report. So that's another area. Anybody have any questions on those two? I know finances get a little bit scary, but if you can try to just put it into a quick little simple spreadsheet, just something that's not too hard to update that you can look at each week for the cash management plan and each month on the break even, I think that's very helpful. Okay, excuse me. The next piece is really measuring your performance. Do you know what your key performance indicators are for your company? Again, for your industry, that benchmarking is very helpful. Some things that I would recommend that you take a look at and have an understanding are what's your revenue trend or your cycle. For some people, your business may have seasonality in it. Some it may be obvious. Excuse me. For others, it may not be that obvious. But if you look, how does your revenue grow this year versus last year? That may give you some insight by looking at those numbers. Again, telling that story. Excuse me. Got a tickle there. The other pieces that are really important to help determine your pricing is that gross profit margin, to understand your budgeted cash needs, or your monthly operating expenses. Excuse me. And at the end of the day, your net profit margin, that and the cash in the bank, those are really the key indicators of how healthy is your business. What profit do you have and how much money do you need to get there? So a quick kind of, we like to do different flash reports and dashboards for our clients. One thing we like to do is really see where have you been the past few years? How are you performing? What does that look like? What has your revenue grown each year? And really understanding, again, like I said, those two things for me are the gross profit margin and that net profit margin. And where are you in line with your industry benchmarks? So a quick performance dashboard can give you that snapshot view. Another piece that we like to look at is really what we call the flash report. This is going to pull your P&L and your balance sheet together. It's going to give you, some companies, depending on what your revenue cycle looks like, this may be something you do on a monthly basis, or this could be, if you're in retail, this may be something you want to look at on a weekly basis. Excuse me. But it's pulling in line how much cash do you have in the bank, what are your credit card or other debts obligations that you have, do you have any outstanding receivables or AR, really kind of focusing on that, especially when things are down, staying ahead of your AR is very important. What's your monthly sales? How are things looking like this year, this month versus last year, the same month? Especially, again, another example there would be in retail. For a lot of retailers, between Black Friday and Cyber Monday through the holiday season, that's really one of their biggest performing times. So for them, really kind of taking that same time period year over year to see what that growth looked like can be helpful. Again, understanding those cost of goods sold, cost of services delivered, breaking down your operating expenses into those business decision making categories. So this is just a quick snapshot that you can use to look at kind of the performance of your company each month. So with that, I want to just say, what's your story? Do you know the story behind your numbers? Is it something that you can talk with another person, that you're not scared about answering? The fear is gone because you've now understood that story. So that's something I encourage you to do. I would love for you as a goal for next year to be able to understand your business, plan for where you want your business to go, track your performance, and really then see that business grow. So a couple resources that I mentioned today: books to consider, Simon Sinek's Start With Why, Alan Milt's The Cash Flow Story, Greg Crabtree, Simple Numbers. He'll really help you understand that gross profit margin, your direct labor efficiency. Are you really pricing your services correctly? And then there's some great programs out there like the Renew for the Entrepreneur Center if you need more information. That's a great option. Entrepreneurs Organization of Nashville, in partnership with the EC, we have a program called Catalyst. It helps for businesses $250,000 in revenue, really try to get to that $1 million mark. The Nashville Business Incubators out there, they've got a lot of great programming right now. Pathway Women's Business Center, and then Think, Create, Collaborate. That's something that Blueprint does. We have a little sheet here, whoops, for you. We do customized advising and resources for business visionaries. So Blueprint delivers the strategy and the advising and the mentoring, and then we host it at Collaborate, a co-work space in Berry Hill. So we have a fun advising panel for you for Think, where it's a business power panel. We have a business cohort it's only 4 to 6 people. It's called Create. And then we have a whole Collaborate. It's a community where members can have access to business resources, space, mentoring, learning. We're just a small little space in Berry Hill. So with that, I want to ask everybody, what can I do for you? Is there anything that we can help you with? What are some questions you may have had from today?
Folks can either type something into the chat or unmute yourselves and just ask.
No questions, but just wanted to say this was fantastic.
Thank you very much. I know it's a lot of information, and like I said, I deal with finance every day and I love it, but I know it's also hard to get, especially virtually. So thank you. Any other questions, comments, feedback?
Hey, Gary, you're unmuted. I think Gary had a question.
Okay.
Just a quick comment, and a great presentation, trying to fit what you fit in to 40 minutes to running a business is, it's a lot of stuff, obviously. And a lot of the folks, obviously, if they're running a business, they know it already, and they innately, and it's a reminder. But having been in business myself and having worked for a major company for the past 20, 25 years, and watching a lot of companies grow over the past 15, 20 years. This year has been just probably one of the worst years I have ever seen in the 40, 50 years of doing stuff and in packaging. And I think what I come away with this year is folks have to reinvent themselves. I have major customers all over the country in the food business, and just about every single one of them has had to reinvent themselves. And I'll pick a particular company in particular. I do business with a company called RX Bar, and I have been with them, from the get-go. And these are folks, they put out a bar, a snack bar, and similar to Kind, which I worked with for many years. These are folks that, they put snack bars out on the market, and these bars are taken with folks who are on the go constantly, traveling, going to the office, quick snacks and whatnot. These businesses are all 40, 50%. And many of these folks have had to reinvent themselves. So I think a key area where you had indicated in there, in one of your charts, finding services, it's so important to brainstorm, to find where are the needs, where are the new products, constantly thinking out of the box. How do I find new markets, new products? I loved your comment about looking for the low-hanging fruit. That's extremely important. Looking for other needs, taking advantage of the current customers you have, and looking for what are the other things I can do for you. You have the relationship with them. If you sell one thing, why can't you sell something else to them because of the relationship? And before you know it, it starts to snowball. So very difficult times for all of us, and looking forward to 2021, hoping that all this COVID stuff goes away and retail comes back, which has been a major, restaurants, hoping they come back. Just constantly thinking out of the box, always asking yourself, with the resources that I have, how do I use the resources to go ahead and build new products, establish new relationships, and develop new products. So just wanted to throw my 2 cents. And if there's anyone, again, I'm here as an advisor. I am very familiar with the food business, food packaging, with anything in the supermarkets. I have some experience, and if I don't know it, I have a team of folks that I work with that can assist in that area. So love to be part of this group. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. I appreciate that. Rhonda, it looks like you had your hand up.
Yes, interesting presentation, very high level. It's a lot. That was a lot. I'm gonna leave that at that. I have a very basic question. Hold on, I'm sharing an office. So I have a very basic question. One of my problems that I'm wrestling with is, are you familiar, anybody on this call, I'm open to anything, Zoho versus QuickBooks?
So I will give you my 2 cents, and then if anyone else has some thoughts on that. Zoho is great when you're starting out. However, as you expand and get a little bit more robust, from my experience and with our clients, they've generally had to transition over to either QuickBooks or Xero as they've grown. QuickBooks has a lot of, as does Xero, both have a lot of startup platforms for solopreneurs, people just starting out, that are very affordable on the front end, maybe $10 a month, $15 a month, very budget conscious. But as you grow, I would highly encourage you to look at QuickBooks or a Xero, maybe a little bit more of a robust platform.
So you're saying Xero, not Zoho, correct?
Xero is Xero. Yes, Xero, okay. Xero, Xero, or QuickBooks Online are the two that I would encourage most business owners. They both have platforms that will really meet any type of service you had. They both have payroll functionality. There's time tracking you can add on to both of them. They're very comparable. They will also help you with that budgeting and forecasting. And they now both have some industry benchmarks and some trends that can be pulled into their platforms as well. So I would encourage you in the future to really look. I would start today, actually, because either of those I think will be better suited for you in the long run, rather than having to switch platforms.
Yeah, I'm looking at that now, and I saw somebody in the chat put Wave. So let me bless whoever is using Waves right now. I started out using Waves. This is my testimony, and it's not even Sunday. I started using Waves when I first started my business, and quickly outgrew Wave. Okay, so if you're looking to scale up, do yourself a favor and leave Wave alone, or your CPA will fuss at you like they fuss at me, and look at QuickBooks or something else. It's very common to get the very basic advice and say, hey, I'm just going to get this because I can use it right now. But once you find that you've outgrown that software or that system, you find yourself scrambling to move everything over. So learn from me and get you some QuickBooks Pro, because it seems like that's just been confirmed.
I would just rather start out rather than having to switch later. And again, they've made it so it's pretty cost effective on the front end. And even if that's something that can transition over as you grow to when you hire a bookkeeper or even hire a CPA firm, you can have that as you grow, it will grow with you. So those are two that I think are the best kind of long-term approach. Did anyone else have a question? Oh, I thought I saw another hand go up. Let me see here. If I'm missing, please.
Oh, well, I put my question in the chat, Brittany, but I can ask it really quickly.
Okay.
Great presentation. A lot of it is that you don't know what you don't know. I think that may have been said, and I'm still learning. I did ask about the templates. I was asking, will you be able to download those and edit? Is that how you send those out?
Generally, I send them out as a PDF, so you have something that you can kind of go through and work with on your own. But yeah, if you want to reach out to me, send me an email. We'll see if we can get something editable for you as well.
Okay. And then my last question, so right now it's only myself and my kids that run the business. And I have my son as basically a contractor. Like he's a 1099. I just pay him, with checks. So I'm wondering how long or the implications of doing that for down the road.
Well, one of those things I would always encourage you to talk with your CPA on that one. They can give you kind of the better tax advice there than I can give you. If you are a single member LLC or a family owned LLC and your child is over 14 and works in your business, there are some payroll tax benefits of doing that. And there are some also other, you can get federal payroll taxes waived if they're working in your own business. So I would encourage you to talk to your CPA about that to see if you qualify. I would also encourage people, really, if it's someone that is working in your business, family member or not, that they're under your control, you're setting their schedule, it's probably better to have them as a W-2 and not a 1099. But again, I would ask your CPA for their advice and recommendation on that.
Okay, thank you.
But definitely, if it's a family member working for you, look at those payroll tax credits. It's a great thing to do. I have 2 of my daughters that work for me, and so it's a great win-win from that perspective. Okay. Anything else? Anyone else have a question?
Yes, I have a question.
Sorry.
My service been in and out, so I caught some of the presentation because my service is pretty bad where I'm at. But anyway, my question is, I've been in business on and off for the past 5 years since 2015, and I know at the beginning of the year I was doing great, and then the tornado happened, and then we had to shut down, and so it's been very hard for me to pivot online and to bring my audience online because I'm not like as tech savvy as I would like to be. And so I just need to know, like, coming into the new year, like I've been struggling with, like, I haven't got a mission or a vision statement. So when you asked that in the beginning, it was very hard for me to answer that. And so I guess I just need to have some kind of direction.
Well, I'm happy to, if you have the opportunity to go through the EC and schedule a mentor session, I'm happy to schedule one of those with you and kind of go through that with you, if that's something you'd like to do.
Sure. Yes, ma'am. I would love to do that. Yes.
Yeah, just shoot me an email.
Any other questions? Any other thoughts for today? All right, well, thank you guys so much for being here. I
this
appreciate
was
it. I hope that
awesome.
was helpful.
Thank you so much, Brittany. Thank you everyone for attending, and I'll follow up with the slides and the recording. Bye, everyone.
Thank you guys. Have a good day.